Excuse me. Welcome to Flow and Restore Yoga with ending in about 10 minutes of guided meditation. My name is Michelle Chua. And for today's practice, you'll want to grab 2 blocks, a blanket, a strap, and maybe even a pillow and additional blankets for the yin and restorative part. Let's start seated. So I've started reading this book by Pema Chodron, The Places That Scare You, a guide to fearlessness in difficult times. And she starts in the beginning talking about how to train as a warrior, not to wage war, very differently, but as a warrior of awakening our hearts and minds and living fully open in this life. And so she says, wherever we are, we can train as a warrior. The practices of meditation, loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity are our tools. With the help of these practices, we can uncover the soft spot of bodhicitta, which in Buddhism can be defined as awake and enlightened heart and mind. And then she continues to say, the central question of a warrior's training is not how we avoid uncertainty and fear, but how we relate to discomfort. How do we practice with difficulty, with our emotions, with the unpredictable encounters of an ordinary day? Such an important question, because here we are sort of in the laboratory of our yoga practice, where we're working with poses, many that you may find very familiar. But then how do we take the same mindfulness and the same compassion to ourselves and others when we step out of this allotted hour for practicing yoga and really use it in how we relate to our day-to-day life? And then she says, training in the middle of the fire can mean that warrior bodhisattvas enter challenging situations in order to alleviate suffering. We're going to end with a particular meditation, a variation of one that we practiced before called Rain, a way of using mindfulness to encounter difficult emotions. But for now, let's prepare our bodies, prepare our minds, and practice concentration through the physical yoga practice. We'll begin with Vinyasa Flow, and we'll continue with Yin and Restorative. So sit in a way that you can feel what you're sitting on evenly throughout the bottom of your pelvis. You might even take a moment to rock side to side, feeling the left and right sitting bones carry your weight. And even rock forward and back, feeling the pubic bone and the tailbone evenly carry your weight too. And as you do that, grounding physically, invite a lift up through the center of your spine. You might even close your eyes and visualize, as though from the bottom of your spine, you're restacking each vertebra, lifting up and creating a little more space between each, lifting through the back of the neck, back of the skull, and then allow your shoulders to softly roll back and down, opening your heart space, so that as we open the physical body, the mind, the breath, the spirit can follow suit. And then place your hands where it helps you to bring more attention to the aliveness of sensations that are moving through your body right now. Maybe you place a hand to the heart center and a hand to the lower belly, and just pause, pay attention to what you're feeling in your body. As well as what you're feeling in the breath, just as it is. Feeling the qualities of the breath inform you of your inner worlds, how you're feeling energetically, mentally, and emotionally right now. From the wide spectrum of experiences, from blissfulness to discomfort, maybe even pain and suffering, let it all be good information as you're cultivating self-awareness. And now let's deepen the breath in through your nose and out to your mouth. Maybe a little bit slower in through the nose, feeling the rib cage gently expand, keeping your heart lifted. Exhale out through the mouth. Continue with that a few more times of lengthening the breath, balancing it in and out, as you start to focus on what you'd like to invite into your experience through your practice today. Clarifying your sankalpa or intention from the heart. And just as well, taking our practice beyond our individual selves, thinking of the greater community. Perhaps choose somebody or a collective, a group that you care about to dedicate today's practice to. And together, as we share practice, let's join our voices chanting 3 ohms. Inhale deeply. As you continue to lengthen your breath evenly, I invite you to close the lips, help to warm up the body, and gently narrow or constrict the back of your throat, creating a soft, gently audible whispering sound. Using that sound as an anchor for your mind to connect it to the present moment and as a way to regulate the quality of your breathing, that it's calm and balanced. And if it isn't, know that you can vary what you're doing with your physical body to maintain that sense of balance in the breath. So as you listen to that steady rhythm you're creating, Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breathing, let's blink the eyes open and make our way to the top of the mat, standing in a forward fold, separating your feet at least hips distance apart and parallel to each other. You may want to have 2 blocks in front of your feet. Take a moment here to bend your knees deeply, so much so that you can just let your head drop. You might like to catch hold of opposite elbows, letting the arms drop while you lift the shoulders up and away from the neck. And maybe as you bend the knees, you sway the spine gently, so make it an easy version of a forward fold. Uttanasana, where you can start to open up the backside of your body. Maybe you take a few breaths of shaking the head, nodding the head, stretching the mouth, making some silly faces, relaxing the jaw. And if you're holding opposite elbows, try switching the cross of the arms. Notice if that might feel different in the shoulders. As you keep your knees at least a little bent, tilt your weight forward towards the fronts of your heels rather than the back edges of the heels. Plant your fingertips either on the blocks in front of your feet or the ground ahead. And as you firmen the belly, inhale, draw your heart forward, lengthening the spine parallel to the floor. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, hinging from your hips, fold in, Uttanasana. Again, to the breath, inhale, press with your fingertips and reach the crown of your head forward as you draw your shoulder blades down your back. Exhale, fold in. One more time, connecting to the breath. Inhale, lengthen forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana. This time, press to your feet and inhale, sweep your arms forward as you rise slowly to stand. Raising your arms overhead with a slight back bend, rolling the shoulders behind your ears and down as you lift the chest and look up. Exhale, join your hands at your hearts in Padasana. Bring to mind again, bring to heart your intention for your practice. Let it affect the way that you're breathing, the way that you're holding yourself up, and the way that you'll move your body to your breath. Sun salutation, C, warming up. Inhale, sweep your arms forward. Again, coil your chest up, but lengthen your tailbone right between the heels. Exhale, bow from your hips and lower your fingertips on blocks or the ground. Inhale, step the left knee behind you to a kneeling lunge and look up. Holding your breath, step into plank pose, top of a push-up, knees down or legs straight. Exhale, first lower your knees, then your chest and chin, hugging your elbows towards your ribs, stick the tailbone up, Ashtangasana. Inhale, slide your belly and legs flat on the floor, and lightly coil your chest up, Cobra. Exhale, press up through hands and knees and tuck your toes. Lift your hips back to downward facing dog. Inhale, step the left foot forward beside your left thumb and lower the back knee as you look up. Exhale, step the right foot forward and bow from down to your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, rising to stand in a gentle back bend. Exhale, your hands together at your heart. One more time, second side, Surya Namaskar C. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, coil your chest up. Exhale, hinge from your hips. Lower the fingertips. Inhale, step the right knee back. Kneeling lunge, look up. Hold your breath and step to plank pose. Exhale, lower your knees, then your chest and chin, firming the belly in. Inhale, slide to the ground into Cobra pose, rolling the shoulders back. Exhale, press up, lifting your hips to downward facing duck. Inhale, step your right foot forward beside your right thumb and lower your back knee looking up. Exhale, step your left foot forward and fold. Inhale, sweep your arms forward, rising all the way up, lifting the heart and gaze. Exhale, join your hands at your heart. Let's take a full cycle of breath here. Notice what you're feeling in your physical being, energetic, mental. We're going to continue on to a variation of sun salutation A, adding some hip opening warrior poses. So again, to the breath, inhale, circle the arms apart this time, then join your palms to meet in Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hinge from your hips. Place your fingertips on blocks or the floor and inhale, lengthen your spine forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Carefully step to plank pose, knees down or legs straight. Continue to exhale, glide forward. Hug your elbows towards your ribs. And this time choose Cobra or upward facing dog, rooting down through the tops of your feet, look up. Exhale, lift your hips back to downward facing dog. So here's the variation. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. As you exhale, bend your right knee and rotate the thigh open at the hip. Staying here, inhale, tack your left outer hip further back. As you exhale, round into plank, bend the right knee towards your nose and softly step the foot right between your hands, spinning the back heel down, align front heel to arch a back foot. Inhale, cartwheel your arms to rise up into warrior two. Rotate the right palm to face up. Exhale, side bend towards the back of your mat into peaceful warrior. Inhale, touch the ground with both hands in plank pose. Exhale, lower through Chaturanga Dandasana and finish your vinyasa, Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, we meet at downward facing dog, side two. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, bend the left knee and rotate your thigh open at the hip. Staying here, inhale, tack your right hip further back. Exhale, round forward, bending left knee towards your nose, lift the belly high. Step the left foot directly between your hands and spin the back heel down, align front heel to arch a back foot. Inhale, cartwheel your arms, rising to warrior two. Exhale, rotate the left palm face up and side bend towards the back wall, peaceful warrior. Inhale, lower your hands in plank pose and continue to your pace of breath into your vinyasa. You could also choose to change it up to cat-cow or skip the vinyasa if you need to rest. Maybe take a child's pose or any other resting position anytime you need as you take care of yourself. We'll meet in downward facing dog here for about 3 deep breaths, slowing down the breathing, listening to that gently audible whispering sound. Listen to the end of this exhalation before you walk or float your feet to the front of your mat. Once there, inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, circle your arms, rising up, palms touch. Exhale, your hands together at your heart. Let's take it through one regular round of sun salutation A. Inhale, circle your arms, gaze up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen forward. Step to plank or float to chaturanga. Continue into your vinyasa. We'll meet in downward facing dog. As you stay a few breaths in Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog, spread your fingers flat. Parallel the creases of your wrists with the front edge of your mat. Soften the back of your neck as you gaze on one spot towards your feet. And broaden across the shoulder blades by wrapping your triceps towards the ground. Lifting your hips high, firm in the belly, and draw your heels towards the earth. 2 more breaths. Listen in. Inhale, sweep your right leg behind you. Exhale, round into plank and step the foot beside your right thumb, entering a high lunge where your feet are parallel, hips distance apart. Inhale, sweep your arms and rise into crescent lunge, dropping the tailbone and lifting your frontal hip bones. Join your hands together at your heart and drop your left heel. Align right heel to arch of left foot like you did in Warrior Two. Open the arms. But this time, let's prepare for triangle pose. Straighten your right leg, glide your hips towards the rear of your mat, and reach your right hand horizontally forward past the right knee before placing that hand on the right side of your right shin, maybe using a block. As you raise the left arm straight up, wrap your right outer hip underneath your body and tack the crease of your right hip back towards your outer left foot, while lengthening your torso and your crown towards the front wall. Spiral your chest slightly towards the sky. Then land your gaze, your drishti, on one spot, and let's listen to another 3 or so breaths. Trikonasana. Let's take the same shape in your body to flight, balancing an Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Gaze at the ground in front of your right foot. Bend your right knee and plant your right hand about 6 inches forward and to the right of your right pinky toe on a block or the floor. Drag in your left foot. Flex that foot as you lift the left leg about parallel to the ground, turning your chest to face the left wall. Stacking your 2 shoulders over your right wrist. Sense the way your body's breathing here. As you regulate your breath to sustained evenness, bring your awareness throughout the sensations that are happening in your body right now. Maybe staying 1 or more breaths longer before you slowly bend your right knee and gently step your left foot to the rear of your mat in Warrior Two. From Warrior Two, deeply breathe in. Exhale your hands to the floor to downward facing dog. Let's skip the vinyasa here for the sake of time. When you arrive at downward facing dog, inhale, sweep your left leg behind you. Exhale, round into plank and step the left foot beside your left thumb into a high lunge. Press to your feet. Inhale, rise up into crescent pose. Anchor your tailbone downward and lift your frontal hip bones. Then join your hands together at your heart and spin the right heel down. Align your left heel to the arch of your right foot and open your arms. Let's prepare for triangle pose. Straighten your left leg. Glide your hips sideways towards your rear wall. Reach your left hand forward past your left knee and place it on the left side of your left shin, maybe on a block. As you raise your right arm straight up, rotate your left outer hip under you and tack the crease of your left hip back towards your outer right foot, while lengthening your torso and crown towards the front wall. Bend your chest slightly towards the sky, steadying your eyes in one spot. And tune into about 3 more breaths here in Trikonasana. Let's take this blueprint of a pose into Ardha Chandrasana. Gaze at the ground ahead of your left foot, keeping the breath steady. Bend your left knee and plant your left hand 6 inches forward and out to the left corner. Drag your right foot in. Flex it as it leaves the ground, turning your chest to the right. Stack your shoulders over your left wrist. As you regulate a state of balance in your breathing, invite your body to follow suit. Notice what's there to notice in your feeling state. Physically, emotionally, what's coming up for you here in the context of this pose? Taking your time, when you're ready, bend your left knee. Softly step your right foot to the rear of your mat. Warrior 2, take a breath in. And this time, we'll straighten the legs, parallel your feet, and then jump or walk your feet together into mountain pose. And for this, you'll want to grab a strap. We'll just wear it as a scarf to start, because we're going to play with a couple of standing balancing poses, one after another. Fun! Continuing with our theme of external rotation of the thighs at the hips, often called hip openers. So start with your feet together, touching. Feel the ground through the 4 corners of each foot. Root into the ground and engage the muscles in your legs and belly as you stand tall. Notice how your shoulders stack right above your hips. Use this as a reference point, creating a strong vertical center line in your body. Now bring your hands together at your heart and let's turn out the right thigh at the hip, starting in tree pose, Vrikshasana. Plant the sole of your right foot against your inner left ankle, keeping the toes on the ground, or slide the foot up to your inner calf. Or take hold of the ankle and place the foot on your inner thigh. Just finding the variation that your body is ready to work with, and then maybe moving from there, or staying there. Sense the quality of your breathing. As you feel the ground through the 4 corners of your left foot, press the ground away so there's a rebounding force, rooting down and rising up. Maybe you raise your arms. Maybe you close your eyes. A couple more breaths here. Now, bring your hands together at your heart and bend your right knee in front of you. Flex the foot. Place your left hand on your left hip. Now we're going to come into hand to big toe pose, in which you have many options. You can hold the bent knee on the outside with the right hand, and we'll open the leg from here. You could use the strap and step the ball of your right foot into the loop or center of the strap, bringing your right arm on the inside of your right leg as you kick the foot forward and rotate the leg externally. Or you could clasp your right big toe if that's reachable, while being able to keep your shoulders evenly stacked above your hips. So rotate the right thigh externally, which means turn it out, then begin to open the right leg slowly, left arm slowly, only to the degree that you're able to keep the center line of your body vertical. How's your breathing? Maybe about 3 more breaths here in Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. If you're feeling pretty stable in this pose, you want to try a little more challenge, look over your left thumb and smile and breathe. If you're looking away, look forward again, bring your right leg forward and raise your left arm up. Stand tall, 1 breath in. Exhale, step the right foot to meet the left. Place a hand on your heart, a hand on your belly. Maybe close your eyes for 3 breaths. Just take a moment to observe what's here now. Can you invite a kindness to yourself, a compassionate attitude to your body? As we play with the other side, so grab your strap if you might use it for side 2, and just put it on like a scarf to start. We'll start in tree pose. Join your hands together at your heart and turn out your left thigh at the hip. Hug the inside of your right ankle, calf, or thigh, and root into the ground with your right toes spread. Invite a lift up through the center line of your body. Notice the quality of your breath. Maybe explore variations with your arms or your eyes. Vrikshasana. I don't know about you, but once I decide to close my eyes, my body just wants to start dancing all of a sudden. And then my heartbeat starts to go faster. There's a little bit of fear that arises. How interesting. Whatever you're doing, take another breath. And then bring your hands together at your heart. Let's bend the left knee in front, flex the foot, and decide how you'll come into hand to big toe pose. You can keep the knee bent, right hand to right hip. You can use a strap around the ball of your left foot, holding the strap in the left hand as you extend the leg. You could clasp the big toe, making sure the shoulders stay stacked above your hips. Now, just like you would open a door, first rotate the thigh, which is like the doorknob in the hip socket. Turn it out at the hip, then start to open the leg or open the door. Right arm out too. Find just the degree of opening that your spine can stay vertically upright. Steadying your gaze, steadying your breath. Maybe looking towards your right thumb. Hand to big toe pose. If you're looking away, slowly look forward. Bring your left leg in front, raise your right arm up high. Deep breath, stand tall. And then set your left foot down. Once again, hand to the heart, hand to the belly, and maybe close your eyes. Observe any feedback you're receiving from your body, from your heart. And with that, we'll enter the yin and restorative part of our practice, continuing with the opening of the hips in frog pose. If you've got any issues happening in your knees, instead of frog pose, which can be quite intense, you could have a seat and prepare for bound angle pose. So I'll show you that first. That's where you sit on the ground or sit up on a folded blanket, drop the knees open, and bring the soles of your feet together. And then you could set up a pillow or a stack of blocks in front of you so that as you bow forward, you can keep pretty much a long spine instead of a rounded back as you rest your forehead on the props. Now, those of you going into frog pose, you may want to fold your mat in half or scoot it off to the side so that we're going to separate one knee on the mat and the other knee on a folded blanket. Try to have them about equal in thickness if that's possible. And the purpose of having one knee on a blanket is to have the ability to slide the knees wider apart if that becomes available for your hips. Then we'll start with the knees a little wider apart than hips distance, making sure that you rotate both thigh bones externally or turn them out from the hips. Be mindful of your knees so that your kneecaps and your middle toes are both pointing out to your sides, left and right. Bend your knees at 90-degree angles, and it may help to flex the feet if you have tenderness in your knees here. Then you might want to set up a pillow or stack of blocks in front of you to place your hands or forearms on, or not, you can lower them on the floor if that's available. So important here to look at your hips and make sure they're aligned with your knees. They're not forward or behind your knees, and that your ankles are also in line with your knees. I'm going to go ahead and set the timer now for whichever of these two postures you're choosing to practice. And we'll set it for 2 more minutes. So really bring your attention to your breath to start. Slowly breathe into your nose. And as you exhale through the nose, soften something that might be unnecessarily tensing right now. Maybe the jaw, maybe the neck and shoulders, maybe the skin on the forehead between the eyebrows. Try that a few times. Scan your body. Are there any areas reacting with protectiveness that may not be needed? Some sort of contraction that you can be aware of. And then take your time to fill up fully with the in-breath and to feel the emptying of the out-breath. We're already halfway through. Bring your attention to any part of your body that's really tugging at your sleeve and asking for your attention right now. Whether through a joyful experience or discomfort, any range of that experience. Can you give it your loving attention by perhaps visualizing breathing into those areas? Notice as you stay, keep your awareness there a little bit longer. Does anything shift? Does the sensation evolve in any way? Maybe yes, maybe not. Now, without rushing to come out of the pose, be just as mindful as when you were setting it up and holding it. Give yourself maybe 5 breaths. If you're in frog pose, you'll start to slide the knees closer together and bring the inner edges of your feet together to sit back in child's pose where you are. If you're in bound angle pose, folding forward, start to lift your torso upright, and you might stretch the legs forward and give them a little movement. Allow a few breaths to just notice what you notice, integrating that pose into your experience now. And let's meet sitting upright, opening the legs apart, so you may like to face the wide width of your mat. Preparing for a seated, wide-legged forward fold. Now, if you find that as you're stretching the legs apart, the back wants to already round, you might find it useful to prop your sitting bones up on a folded blanket or pillow. Do grab some pillows or blocks and place them in front of your pelvis. You could also create an incline out of a long pillow so that the lowest part of the pillow is right up against your pelvis, and then 2 blocks are sitting just underneath the furthest end of the pillow like this, so that you can bear hug the pillow. Some of you might prefer to have something simpler, like 1 block for your forehead or 2 blocks, 1 for each hand. But start by sitting up and really rooting down the left and right sitting bones. Lift your frontal hip bone so there's a little engagement in your lower abdomen where the pelvis is not spilling forward. Use your hands to cup the tops of your thighs and help to roll your inner thighs back. Notice that your kneecaps, your middle toes are pointing face up. Try to keep them that way throughout this posture. We'll be in it for 3 minutes. Then here, place your fingertips in front of you and lift tall through the front of your spine. Relax the shoulders down. Notice the natural space between your chin and chest. Keeping your throat open, begin to walk your hands forward. Breathe in as you press the hips down and lengthen the spine from them. Breathe out as you might fold a little more, taking your time here as I'm setting the timer for 3 minutes. Let the shoulders soften down the back. Feel that your knees are still pointing upwards, not rolling to face forward. And then sense the depth of your breath. Fully in, fully out. As you listen to that sound at the back of your throat, invite your mind to ride the waves of that sound rhythm. And again, observe what comes and goes through the experiences in your body. Observe how you are relating to what comes and goes. Is there a tendency to stay and look at it with curiosity? Is there a tendency to look away or to distract the mind? And without judging right or wrong, observe how you're relating to your experience. Now again, give yourself a few breaths without rushing out to slowly walk your hands closer to your legs. Begin to lift your head and your chest, your torso. And then place your hands on your outer thighs so that you can lightly bend the knees up and drag the thighs closer together. Let's prepare for Gomukhasana. You may want to have a strap nearby for this, and you might also like to sit on a folded blanket. So start by extending your left leg forward, turning out the right thigh at the hip. Cross your right thigh as much as you can over the left so that perhaps you stack your knees down your midline. Feel that your two sitting bones are evenly grounded. If not, you might want to elevate the pelvis some more. Now you can decide if you keep your left leg straight and flex the foot, This is a great variation of the pose that helps to relieve pain from pinch sciatic nerve. Otherwise, traditionally the pose is done with both knees bent, feet apart. Now with your right thigh on top, you might begin by holding a strap in your left hand. Raise your left arm, dangle the strap behind your back. With the help of your right hand, rotate your outer left upper arm forward and bring the elbow behind your head, pressing your shoulders down. Reach your right hand underneath behind you to catch the other end of the strap. Then walk your hands as close together as you can. If your hands meet, you might drop the strap and clasp the hands. Then press down through both of your hips and lift up from the bottom of your spine to your crown, opening your throat as you broaden your chest. Breathe in. Hug your front ribs towards you as you exhale to begin bowing from the hips. Take this for about 10 breaths in total. Counting slowly, inhale and exhale as a full cycle. When you finish counting your own 10 cycles of breath, press your hips into the ground, lifting from your chest. Breathe in to slowly rise up. And release your arms, release your legs straight in front. Pause a moment, or if you need, shake out your body. Receiving feedback from it. And then let's set up for side two. So start with your right leg straight, turn out your left thigh and cross it over your right thigh as much as you can. Try to set up the same way as you did on the first side. So either bottom leg stays straight and the foot is flexed, or bend the bottom knee and splay the feet apart. Root evenly through your sitting bones, and if you're using a strap, hold it in your right hand, raise your right arm up, and dangle the strap behind you. With the help of your left hand, rotate your right outer upper arm forward and bring the elbow behind your head. Press your shoulders down and reach the left hand underneath behind you, catching the other end of the strap. Walk your hands as close together as you can, maybe clasping the fingers. Press down to your hips. Breathe in and lift up to your spine. Exhale, start to hinge from your hips, breath by breath. Now counting your 10 cycles, slow breathing. Counting can be a helpful tool to keep the mind present, as it often wants a job to do. Take your time finishing your 10 breaths at your count. And when you do, press your hips downward. Begin to lift your chest. Inhale slowly to rise up. Release your arms, release your legs. Maybe give them some movement if needed. And we'll set up for supine supported fish pose, with the option to come into Supta Baddha Konasana. So set up your 2 blocks, one at the tallest height. At the rearmost edge of your mat will be your pillow for the back of your skull. And the second level height or medium height across the mat, spaced inward from that first block. And you'll know how to space them apart in a moment. We'll keep the pelvis on the floor as you sit facing away from the blocks. And you can decide if you want to bend the knees open and bring the soles of the feet together. You could also place pillows or blankets under your outer thighs to support your hips. Or you can stretch the legs forward, and for lower back support, place a pillow underneath the backs of your knees like this. Then start to lie back and find the area right underneath your shoulder blades. Let that part land on the lower block so that your shoulder bones cascade into the space between the blocks as you land the back of your skull on the furthest block. Make any adjustments so that you can feel symmetrical as possible on the left and right shoulders. They're both releasing down and away from the neck. And if you find that you're not feeling very much of a heart opener or a lift in the chest, you could tilt the block that's under your head 1 step lower so the blocks will be like an equal sign, or even 2 steps lower if you want a little more depth. Then walk your shoulder blades down your back and rotate your shoulders back to flip your palms face up, landing the backs of your hands on the ground slightly away from your thighs. Feel that your hips are as balanced as possible as you soften your thighs, your calves, your feet, and then close the eyes. We'll practice a variation of Samavriti Pranayama here, which is a grounding breathing technique to help relax the mind and body. So in this variation, I'll count to 5 as you breathe in through the nose, and then I'll count from 5 as you breathe out through the nose, balancing the breath in and out. Let's try a few rounds together, and then you can continue on your own. So feel or visualize the part of your body in which you can most feel the sensations of the breath coming and going. It might be your nostrils, your chest, your throat, your belly. And as you land your awareness there in your mind's eye, empty this breath. Let's begin. Inhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Count a couple more cycles on your own. Gopala, Gopala, let your breathing be as easeful as possible. Less effort, more allowing. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari. When you finish another round or two, when you decide that you're done, then consciously let go of regulating your breathing. Continue to be aware of that area in your body where you can sense the breath. Now feeling the breath naturally flow in and out.
Shri Krishna Gauri.
Continue to sense your body breathing naturally. If you have any props underneath your legs, gently begin to remove them so that your legs can be completely on the floor. Transitioning very slowly, remove any other props that's under your body so that your back is completely on the ground. Once there, bend your knees, step your feet on the floor, and slide your pelvis about 3 to 4 inches closer to the right edge of your mat. Let's prepare for a spinal twist. Slide your right arm out to the right, grounding that shoulder. Wrap your right leg over your left leg so that here we're now internally rotating the thighs, very opposite from much of what we've been practicing today, to counterbalance. Lift your feet, then begin to drop your knees to the left into a spinal twist. Making sure the right shoulder stays on the floor. If it starts to rise up, you might find it helpful to place a pillow or props underneath your outer left thigh to keep that right shoulder down. Maybe turn the head to face the right shoulder. And continue to feel your body breathe naturally. As you feel the end of this next breath, begin to roll onto your back and uncross your legs. Then slide your hips closer to the left edge of your mat and open your left arm wide on the ground. Keeping the left shoulder down, wrap your left leg over your right leg, then lift your feet and begin to drop your knees to the right. Maybe using a prop to catch your outer right thigh. Maybe looking over your left shoulder. Feel how your body's responding to this side of the twist. Feel the end of this next breath before you start to move. Rolling onto your back, uncrossing your legs. And giving yourself a genuine hug. As you close your eyes and embrace yourself with love, let in a deep breath and hold it in for a few seconds. When you're ready, exhaling through the mouth, splay out your legs, let the feet drop wider apart than hips distance. Relax the shoulders into the earth and feel the spaciousness in your neck and down the rest of your spine. Close your eyes, soften the muscles in your face, Continue to feel and let your body breathe naturally as we now rest for a few minutes in stillness. Shavasana. Lying still just another moment longer. And with your eyes still closed, feel into your physical body now. Notice how it's responded to your physical yoga. As you sense the breath just as it is, observe the way you feel energetically. Tuning into your mind and heart, notice how you feel mentally and emotionally. As you keep paying attention, maybe keeping the eyes closed, gently begin to wake up your body with an easy movement, a simple stretch. Gradually, you might turn over to your right side and rest your head on your arm. Being gentle with yourself, begin to lift your body upright. Find a way to sit for a guided meditation practice of about 10 minutes. You might like to elevate your pelvis on a folded blanket. Sit in a way that you can feel grounded, connected to the earth below, alert with a tall spine, open heart space, and relaxed. Either close your eyes or steady a soft gaze at eye level. And then set your hands in a way that you can focus. Maybe the thumb and index fingers to touch, palms face down, grounding energy, or palms face up, energizing. Or stack your palms at the center of your lap with thumb tips touching. So as I mentioned in the start, we'll practice a variation of RAIN, which is an acronym of 4 steps that you can practice when you encounter a difficult emotion, so that you can approach yourself compassionately, mindfully, and cultivate self-awareness and healing. So the variation of RAIN that we've mostly practiced before is that adopted by Tara Brach, mindfulness teacher. But today, we'll utilize the one that's generally used in Buddhism in a non-religious way that was shared with me through the Temple of the Way of Light. So let's begin by landing your awareness again where you feel the sensations of the breath, allowing the body to receive the breath naturally. Let this be your anchoring point so that if your attention goes astray, you can come back to the space in your body and again sense the breath moving. So let's choose a particular experience that you've recently had in which difficult emotion came up for you. Anger, frustration, sadness, pain or suffering of any kind. Something that you feel ready to practice with, not too overwhelming. Take a moment to visualize that occurrence when that difficult emotion came up. Remember the context of the situation, setting, who was there, what was said or not said. And now let's begin the steps of RAIN. R, recognize what is going on. Turn your awareness inside and simply notice. What am I feeling, believing, thinking, experiencing in this moment? Pay attention to the sensations inside yourself. The tight throat or clutching sensation in the belly, as well as the thoughts or beliefs that may be linked to these sensations. Take a breath and acknowledge that something painful or disturbing is arising within. If you can, name what's happening. Oh, anger. Or, oh, upset. Or, oh, fear. Succinctly. Step 2 in rain, A for allow. Allow the experience to be just as it is. Our unconscious MO struggles to change unpleasant experiences. But now we're practicing acceptance. Open to what's inside, relaxing any resistance. Maybe you can barely tolerate it at first, but over time, the practice softens into genuine acceptance. Tell your inner experience, yes, over and over again, softening into the edges of the pain, opening up to what's inside. Feel it in your body, feel it in your heart, feel it in your mind. A great deal of relief can come from these first 2 steps of rain alone. Not pushing away your experience. Step 3 in rain is I. Investigate your inner experience with kindness. Here we go deeper into exploring what's happening. What is the nature of this feeling? What does it need? How does it show up in your body? Be with the aliveness of any sensations or even more subtle, the felt sense happenings. What are the beliefs at play here? Kindness is a crucial ingredient in this process to prevent us from falling into fixing mode. Make sure your investigation comes from the heart, as compassionately as if you were responding to a dear friend or your own child. What does this difficult emotion need? Now, the 4th step in this variation of rain is N for non-identifying with your experience. Loosen your grasping of the feeling to open to a sense of non-identification. Yes, I have this feeling, but it is not actually me. Yes, it is here, and I am more than this. You are more than this difficult emotion. Recognize your natural awareness, your inner essence that is fundamentally free, spacious, and loving. Situations come and go, but our basic awareness remains unconditioned and pristine, capable of knowing anything while being constrained by nothing. Sense the one who is observing this difficult emotion. that eternal you. If your eyes are closed, please keep them closed a little longer. Allow a moment to just feel what you're feeling now through the experiences of your meditation. And through the experiences of all your aspects of yoga practice today. You might join your palms to meet at your heart center, remembering the intention that you started with. Breathing in deeply, breathing out, remembering to whom or what you may have dedicated this practice to today. You might picture them enjoying benefit from your practice. As we're able to be with ourselves in difficult moments like emotions that might be uncomfortable, as we can cultivate compassion and understanding for ourselves, we strengthen that muscle to exercise with those around us too. So notice how your practice has rippling benefit. And then together, let's close chanting one Om. Excuse me. Inhale deeply. Bow in towards your heart center, smiling in towards the light within. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.